Hello, this is the December post-board meeting update. We had a wonderful board meeting last night. I wanted to take obviously some opportunity to highlight those things that we've covered as I do every month. I cannot believe Christmas is coming up next week. It is just quickly arrived. It's amazing how fast time flies by. We've had a wonderful first semester with a lot to accomplish, and there's a lot of highlights. So I'll jump right in. We did have last night, our board was updated by our auditors. We have external auditing done every year to ensure compliance with state and federal regulations, as well to ensure that we are being fiscally responsible. And we had a wonderful audit, as we've had historically here in the Reed Springs School District. We were given nothing but really glowing remarks on the processes and procedures and practices that we have in place, both on the state and federal compliance side, as well as on the fiscal responsibility side. Our auditors measure a variety of things and do a variety of tests to ensure that we are following good practices. We were complimented last night for really being fiscally responsible, especially when there was all those COVID dollars. We've been really intentional as a team to use our dollars in a way that makes sense, in a way that is just fiscally responsible. And so to be able to grow our reserve balances in a time of escalated costs is really a significant thing. And so we are just, again, proud that we have had that audit completed. Once we get all done, the audit will be available online. But just a wonderful evening last night. And again, a shout out to our team, everyone who's involved in ensuring that we follow good practices with our taxpayers' dollars as we continue to strive to implement strategic plan and all the work that we're doing. The strategic plan review belief we reviewed was we believe collaboration of all stakeholders, students, staff, parents, guardians, and community is vital to the success of students, of every student. I know very few districts that open up strategic planning to the entire community, that will bring in and open up portrait of graduate work to the entire community, which is what we just went through last year. A high level of opportunity for community engagement and involvement, as well as the work that Ben Fisher does in helping us gather survey data and informational data. We have surveys going out right now for Strategy 3, expansion of opportunities. There's just so much that's been done in terms of ensuring that we collaborate and get input from a district level on the work that we're doing, and which is why decisions, even a lot of the decisions we made last night, are directly related to strategic work and the community engagement that we've had. And then of course collaboration within every group of our staff, our teachers, our administrators, something we strive for, as well as professionally collaborating together to improve quality of learning. We respect the board norm that we reviewed is we respect confidential information as confidential. There are a variety of things that are protected that need to be held confidentially within closed session, and so board members can't dive into those conversations. So if you ever get a question, if you ever have a question for a board member, they're like, that was in closed session, I can't speak about it, that's because law governs those decisions. The board, let's just drive right into some of the big things. So just real quick, we have a wonderful partnership, and I just want to give a shout out to our Wolfpack Foundation, all the work that they're doing for our kids. We're continuing to expand and enhance that programming. I've been having conversations with Becky Sellers in regards to how to really enhance and expand, or let me say, how to continue to elevate our partnership with the foundation in the work that we're doing within our strategic plan centered around personalized learning, real world learning, deeper learning, and student agency, and how grants might be tied to that. So teachers, you may begin to start thinking about future down the road when you start to look for grants. How can they connect to our strategic work within visible learning and real world learning? We'll have more information come from that. And I know the foundation hasn't finalized anything in that, but we're at least in those discussions at this point. And there's some other things I know that they're working on. They have an event. I just want to give information out. We'll have a lot more information coming in PR avenues called A Night in the Arts. This is an event driven by our foundation in partnership with other school district foundations, really essentially trying to serve school districts in Stone and Taney County, 14 school districts. There's an event on April 19th. This is a significant event. It's a night in the fine arts, so there's going to be a group from the Springfield Symphony playing at the Yakov Theater. We will have a student showcase of artwork and fine arts talents. We'll have auctions auction going on, of course, uh, a silent auction, as well as auctioning pieces of artwork that are created by students across the region. So those are being submitted by the school districts. Our art teachers have been informed about that, and they're going to work on getting, we need at least 5 pieces to submit to that. We have some significant founders that have already donated to this thing, and so there's general admission tickets that are $60, all the way up to sponsorships for $75,000. The foundation has already raised enough money to cover the expenses of the event and to give all 14 school districts $5,000. We anticipate that continue to go up as we as they work towards providing a phenomenal event to give back to our kids. We discussed briefly last night our school calendar. It wasn't up for adoption, just got some initial feedback from the board on our school calendar. I have just emailed that. If I haven't hit sent, it's in my email box to my advisory team that's representative of our district. So staff, you can give some input to them if you have questions on that calendar. You're welcome to give input to that. It's very consistent for the most part with our calendar now, but more information come. We'll approve that at the next board meeting. I updated the board on our RS Connect one-on-one central office staff meetings. We are trying to hit the second group of our employees this year as we hit the ones last year. Our highlights continue to be our culture is phenomenal. We have a wonderful climate. It's just a great place to work. We are, again, the 4-day, I think is good for community on here. From our staff, the 4-day work is a huge highlight in that work-life balance. Our district does a phenomenal job with student care and taking care of our kiddos. Really accessible administration from the top down. Very strategic in our work, which is critical. We continue to implement our strategic plan and do what we say we're going to do. We are working hard to be competitive with salaries. And one of the things that has come up as well is that behaviors continue to be a pretty high level challenge, a pretty deep challenge within our system with students being dysregulated before they come even to school. We are having some incidences continue to constant disruptions and student disengagement at times. So our team spent a lot of times managing behavior and working on that. So we do have structures in place and continue to look to how to refine that. And some of the decisions made tonight, I'll get into a little bit more related to that particular topic and how we're addressing it. And then just continue to work towards real world learning, advancing literacy skills. So good things happening there. Brief MSBA update in regards to legislation. There are going to be several pieces of legislation this year that will impact schools potentially in a negative way. We'll keep you attuned to any of those that might be happening, specifically related to how we open enrollment and how we fund public education. So there's a lot going on there. The board did a self-evaluation and had some conversation around their progress and where we could have potential growth opportunities. That's something that I value within our board. That is, a few times a year, they take time to go over the board norms, which are agreed upon rules that they've self-established to hold themselves accountable to be good board members and to stay within their lanes of board governance. And so we were able to have some discussion around that last night. One of the longest conversations that we've had and really spent a lot of time on, which is arguably probably the longest topic I've had in a long time as we've discussed, is a new business item called the central. It's on the thing is central office construction project. But I want to set the stage here real briefly. That's driving this decision. We again came together as a community last year, did a SWOT analysis of what our strengths and weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are. In looking at the data and having a deep level of conversations, behaviors continue to be a concerning problem. Students who are dysregulated, students who are disrupting their own or the learning of their peers and are not really prepared for the normal, typical school environment. And so one of the strategies came from that is that we would evaluate and enhance our alternative support systems to meet the individual learning needs of our students, 7th grade through 12th grade. So what that means is really we would look at an alternative school setting for kids and how we could do that. While we've had an alternative school component, it's been a very minimal number of kids that can get in because of space capacity and really more of a reactive approach to addressing these students' needs. And we have kids that right now need an alternative setting, which is impacting their learning and the learning of others. And so out of that strategy, there are action steps that our team, our community came up with that we are held to start to work towards. Establish and designate a non-traditional educational environment for students with individual learning needs in grades 7 through 12. Develop a clear purpose with mission, values, goals, and a non-traditional space. So develop that space, but also have a very clear protocol and program of what that will look like. Create criteria for entrance, transition within programming without alternative school, and reintegration and or departure of the alternative school program. Establish a system that staff and administrators would follow to refer an individual to alt school, and then hire staff to support that. Those are the critical pieces to this discussion, because I'll tell you, quite frankly, we I would say our top priority in the next 5 years is to deepen the learning for each one of our students, make it more personalized. And in order to do that, this strategy is super critical. I think this is, if not the top, it's one of the top strategies within our strategic plan that we have to tackle with some immediacy and some urgency to be able to meet the needs of all of our learners. So that's driving, the alternative school is driving. And as we worked through master planning for a whole year last year, we had a team, we did surveys, we did a bunch of work to develop a master plan. And as we did that, looking at our strategic plan and where we're headed and going in through the summer and this year, it's been determined that we need alt school and we need one that's right here at the high school. The rationale for that is these students, as they get integrated, they can get integrated back into the regular school setting. Being here on campus, being right here at the high school building for our team makes the most sense, so that our students feel like they're still part of us, but yet they're separated. But when they're ready, they can begin integrating back even on a slow period by period, hour by hour basis. And so it was determined that we need to give this space, where I'm currently seated in this central office, to an alternative school and make this alternative school learning center. So we had a team go explore several alternative settings across the state, led by Garrett Noonan. They've done a phenomenal job of bringing back recommendations for the board on what kind of space they need, what this would look like, how we could turn this central office space into an alternative school to meet the needs of these learners who need back and really have some focus. So that's been the driver. So we know that alternative school needs to come here. And so then we've evaluated multiple options. Well, what does that mean for a central office? Where does that go? How do we do this in a way that's fiscally responsible while focusing on our priority, which is about students? This is about students. That's what the conversation is about. How do we help our kids have the best opportunity to be successful? So in the end, last night, the board approved a contract to begin design and construction of a central office facility. I've talked about this in my last few board meetings and my board updates. That'll be north of our career center. This is money that the board has been reserving and saving for things like this. So it's coming out of our reserves. It will be a modest building that will accommodate essentially the same amount of space that we have here. It'll also provide a boardroom and a learning center like we have here, which we feel is critical. And so while we don't have all the designs, we do have some preliminary kind of sketches that are done. And so we're going to begin working on designing the facility over the next couple of months with the target goal to begin construction in March. And we anticipate that being about a 7-month period, with the hopes that we can finish this building. This new modest building is not going to be a Taj Mahal. This is just a modest central office building that we can finish this building by around this time next year, to give us that spring into summertime to have our career center students at TRCC that do construction, to have our team over here at this location, at the central office location right now at the high school, to begin renovating and remodeling this building to the extent that it's needed for our alternative school program. Because our goal is alternative school program, that new program, the beginning of 2027. So 27-28 school year. So that's the timeline, and this is this conversation we've had for multiple months with the board that we've really been working towards. Again, the driver, while you see that we're building a central office space, which quite frankly is, for me, like, I don't know if this is a good analogy, but I kind of look at it like buying tires. I hate buying tires, but it's a necessity. This is something that I'm not excited about necessarily from a standpoint of us building a central office. I actually love my space here. I love our location here, but What I am excited about is the alternative school expansion. And so we've trusted, I mean, just have confidence that we've taken a significant amount of days and time and hours and over the course of the last year and a half of analyzing this decision and making the best decision that we feel possible for our kids. So we're excited that the board approved that. They're all 100% supportive of our alternative school expansion, building this facility, and moving forward. And so it was great dialogue, and we were able to move that. The next topic was our Table Rock Career Center students or construction house. They have finished a house that's on 117 Rainbow Lane. You're welcome to drive by and look at it. We are ready to engage in listing that facility, that home and get it on the market. So we will have that on the market, getting ready to sell and hopefully find a buyer as soon as possible and have our students begin constructing another building. We have some lots still that they can work on as we build another room and give them that real world learning experience. One of the big things that we've also discussed for a while with our board for some time, is the potential and the rationale for looking at our administrative structure at the intermediate school and to provide significant level of support. As I mentioned, behaviors continue to be an escalated situation. I know this building, the staff there, as well as Mrs. Chavez, can speak to the behaviors and the challenges that take them away from real learning, and the challenges that take away from Mrs. Chavez specifically, whose number one responsibility is to drive instruction. And that's the number one goal that we have for our administrators, is that they're the leaders of learning going on, and that they're supporting teachers as they're working and growing their capacity to support our students. And so we've had conversations about how do we support, why is this building really one of the only buildings that doesn't have any kind of administrative support, when now what used to be back a number of years ago behaviors that would occur in the middle school, these are behaviors now we're seeing at the intermediate school. And without getting too much on a tangent, I mean, we're seeing all spectrums of issues at the intermediate school. That's taking a significant amount of time. And so you will see, the board has approved adding an assistant principal position at the intermediate school. We will have a full-time assistant principal at the elementary with a recent resignation of Mrs. Tanya Baker. She will be moving back into the classroom. We appreciate all that she does and look forward to her finishing out a career where she wants to finish out back in the classroom where her heart is right now. So that position will be posted, a full-time elementary principal position to replace her, and then a full-time position, assistant principal position at the intermediate school. So more to come on that, but we appreciate the board's support on that. The board also approved our alternative school teacher leader position. This is a position that will, and these positions are for the beginning of next year. This position is a position to begin developing that alternative school programming. So it is a teacher coordinator role. It's kind of like what we would say, kind of like one of our coordinators, like our process coordinators. There will be helping and working with Garrett Noonan and our administrative team in designing and developing our alternative school environment on what this experience could be, what this could look like, how can we make it personalized and engaging for our students. And so that individual will be hired and be able to help build that from the ground up throughout the course of next year. Again, that's why we're on a timeline with, again, the following year getting ready to open that August, an alternative school learning environment that we believe will also include sending schools that will send students to us to support them as well in the work that they're doing and help us offset some of the costs associated with an alternative school. So the board approved that position, so you'll see that position get posted before break as well. I think these postings are going to be ready to go in the next day or two. The board approved our programs, our middle school and high school athletic activities programs. Those program reviews were done and submitted and approved by the board. And then finally, the board approved our local compliance plan, which is our way. It's a plan that's aligned to federal and state statutes on how we serve our special needs students. That was a board meeting in 20 minutes. I appreciate everyone. Hopefully you listen to this board message. A lot of great things to come. We will have some additional messaging about alternative school programming and again explaining a little bit deeper as to why that rationale for this construction is happening, because it's really about driving. The driver is that alternative school building project. We'll have some messaging and some videos and things coming out after break. Everyone, have a wonderful and safe Christmas. Enjoy time. There's nothing more important than being with family. Of all the things we do, family is the most important. Have a very Merry Christmas.